might as well start my story at the very beginning. Here at the California Maternity Hospital is where it all began. Yep, that's me in the nurse's arms. The forceful-looking gent with the mustache was my father, Peter Judson Kirk. I was named Junior. One life wasn't enough for a man like my father. He was going to live it all over again through me. Well, since he was an expert horseman, Junior had to be an expert horseman. I was willing, but the horse wasn't. And since Senior was an All-American halfback, Junior had to be an All-American halfback. Pretty good halfbacking, eh? Unfortunately, that wasn't me. Wasn't even my team. Meet me. Compared to my ball of fire pop, well, anyway, I had a good seat. And I kept it warm all season. Father was a department store tycoon, so Junior had to be a department store tycoon. And even after Dad passed on and I took over, the old comparisons persisted. They finally began to get me, and I started thinking of selling out, living my own life, my own way. Well, I did sell out. I dropped the Junior, and I began catching up on all the things the old man never permitted me before. And one of them was driving right behind me.
The absence of bradycardia indicates very little concussion.
And I do notice a small hematoma of the right parietal region. Also, there's some swelling of the lateral malleolus, so there might be a fracture of his left ankle.
Perhaps.
There could be a crack of the tibia and fibula higher up, so I take a picture of the entire leg.
Oh.
Hello.
For a minute, I thought it was you spouting all that medical stuff.
It was.
This is Dr. Hunt of Los Angeles.
Doctor?
Yes, I was right behind you when the accident occurred.
Oh, really?
Now, you needn't be alarmed at what you heard. It may be nothing more than an extra hard bump on the head that put you out for so long. But we're going to check to make sure.
Well, I have to be on my way.
On your way? Well, you can't walk out in the middle of a case like this. It's unethical.
This is Dr. Wilson's case, and you're in very capable hands.
Of course, Dr. Hunt, if you'd like to step in.
No, Dr. Wilson, I wouldn't think of it.
Very well.
Now, wait a minute. Doesn't the patient have anything to say about who's to treat him?
Of course.
Sorry. You're the doctor. Seems like there ought to be something you can treat me for.
You saw the x-rays. The only damage seems to be to your car.
Oh, Mr. Kirk, I put your things in Dr. Hunt's car.
Thank you.
No, I'm afraid you'll have to take them out. I'm in a hurry to get back to Los Angeles.
Well, that's exactly where I'm going. Would you mind an extra passenger?
Well, 500 miles is a rather long trip, and you should really rest a few hours.
Oh, well, I find traveling very restful. Besides, you'll be driving most of the night, and it's not safe for a woman alone.
Sometimes it's safer. But I guess I can risk it. These lonely stretches always make me rather sad. Ever affect you that way, Mr. Kirk?
Ordinarily, yes. Right now, no. Don't you think it's about time you started calling me Peter?
Peter. Peter Kirk. Not the big department store man.
Only by inheritance.
Junior.
Part of the inheritance.
Why, I've been wearing your undies ever since I was in pigtails.
From pigtails to prescription. Quite a jump.
Not necessarily. There are many women doctors.
As beautiful as you? Oh, the time I've wasted being well.
The last man that said that to me was 73. His age was his alibi.
I'm sorry, but I do think you're pretty wonderful.
Is that my motor?
Well, it isn't me.
Nothing serious. I'll have it fixed in the jiffy.
Any place to get a bite to eat around here?
Ranch Hotel's just down the road a bit.
Do we have time?
You slow eaters or fast eaters?
Sort of medium.
Your car will be ready by the time you get your apple pie.
Suppose we don't like apple pie.
Well, you better like it. It's the only kind they ever have.
Then all you actually do is travel and play around.
Well, as a matter of fact, it is a kind of a pointless existence, but one of these days I'm going to get going on something.
I should think so. 5 years of just wasting time.
Well, if I hadn't been just wasting time, I'd have never met you.
We'd better see if the car's ready. I'm anxious to get started.
Why hurry? Can't we stay a little longer? It's very nice here.
My vacation's over.
Oh.
There you are. Everything fixed?
Yep, I just had to push the radiator back into place.
We're ready.
Only in pushing the radiator back, I busted your fan belt.
You can replace it, can't you?
Ah, I can replace a fan belt quicker than you can spit.
Fine.
Only I ain't got a fan belt.
Can't you get another one?
Oh, I can get one in a jiffy. But not tonight.
You mean we're stuck here?
Oh, no, ma'am. I'll get you out. First thing in the morning.
Well, it's lucky we found such a nice place to spend the night.
There's really no need of your waiting until morning. You can take a bus or something.
Oh, well, there's no bus at this hour.
One comes along in 20 minutes.
Can't ride the bus. You know, the gas fumes, I get bus sick.
You can catch the train at the junction.
That's worse. I also get train sick.
All I ever get is homesick.
Homesick? Isn't this your home?
Yep, and I'm sick of it.
Right this way, miss.
Well,
I guess you think I'm kind of a nuisance.
that's rather a leading question.
You're over on this side, sir.
Well, if you're under the impression I'm sort of maneuvering...
Aren't you?
Yeah.
As long as we understand each other. Good night.
Oh, Doctor, I still think you're pretty wonderful, and I'm not 73.
Oh, there's a little mix-up about the water in this room. You see, the hot water is marked cold, and the cold water is marked hot. But don't you worry about it. We never have any hot water. Good night.
And now for you lovers of blood and terror, KLLM presents Horror in the Night.
Peter. Psst. Peter Kirk.
What?
Do you realize it's awfully late?
Can't sleep.
After all that's happened today, you've got to get some rest.
I tried, no go.
I'll take care of that.
Come in.
You can take one of these, and you'll be asleep in no time.
Oh, no. I can't take
You better
pills.
do as I say. Now, into bed.
I'd rather talk.
This is no time for talking. Take that robe off and get into bed.
Well, now, there's no point in trying to make me take pills. I can't swallow them.
You'll find taking a pill is very easy with a little water.
But
now,
I
open
tell
up.
you, I can't...
Here we are. There. Now, that was easy enough, wasn't it? A little more water. That did it. Sometimes this works. Now, go to bed.
Well, these things may put me to sleep, but they're sure not going to fix what's bothering me.
What's bothering you?
You see, I'm in love
In love.
with you.
With me?
Mm-hmm. And I have a strange feeling that someday we're going to be married.
I'll say it's a strange feeling.
Yeah, well, I don't mean today or tomorrow, but someday.
Well, it's certainly nice of you to tell me before I read it in the papers.
I knew it the minute I laid eyes on it.
This is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Maybe, but I just wanted you to know how I feel.
Is that all?
Yeah. Except I do want to marry you.
Maybe you'd better take another one of these pills.
Won't help. I won't get a good night's rest till we're married.
Well, good night.
Good night.
Mr. Kirk, Whatever type of woman you've known is your business. But I can assure you this kind of talk doesn't appeal to me at all.
Well, if I said anything wrong, I apologize.
You certainly have. You've made a boyish attempt to sweep me off my feet with the most insincere line of, well, just line I've ever heard in my life.
I said I loved you, and I meant it.
It might have worked if I were a young girl with a piece of wedding cake under my pillow. But I'm a woman. A mature woman with a cold, clinical mind of a doctor. What do you say to that?
What do you think of that?
This can't be. Marriage is for women who can create homes for their men, devote their lives to them. I can't do that. I've already signed over my future. I have to continue in practice.
You don't have to practice, darling. You're perfect.
But I want to. I've waited on tables, worked behind counters to see my way through medical school. It's the most important thing in my life.
All right. So you practice.
Don't you realize there isn't a moment in my life I can call my own? That my duty to my patients comes first, even before my duty to a husband?
I'm not worried.
Think what it would mean, being married to a woman who can never call the day or night her own. You don't want that.
Will you marry me?
Did you hear what I said?
I heard, and I'm still asking. Will you, darling?
Well, I tried.
Well, we're home, Mrs. Kirk.
Peter, your home is charming.
That's the caretaker's cottage. The house is up the driveway.
Right, Peter, it's tremendous.
Don't let it frighten you, darling. Inside, it's more like a little cottage.
You know, it's only a short drive from my office to the front gate. The real trip is from the gate to the house.
Well, anyway, there's not much traffic.
Was all this your idea?
Well, Kirk Manor used to be known as Father's Folly, but it's home. Well, here we are at the threshold.
Oh, Peter. Is this the cozy little cottage you were telling me about? I've worked in hospitals that were smaller than this.
Well, help kind of helped fill it up.
They're awfully quiet.
Wired ahead, gave him the day off. Want you all to myself.
You mean I'm alone with a strange husband?
All alone.
Wonderful.
Hello? Doctor who? Oh, Dr. Hunt. Yes, just a minute. Your assistant. How'd she know you were here?
I wired ahead. Hello, Emma. Thank you. Any calls? Mr. Vandermeer, what did he want? Oh, I see. How about Mrs. Palmer? Did she have her baby yet? My, she's a slow one. Right. Oh, Emma, I tried to reach Dr. Terhune. Will you call and see if he can take my patients for one more week? I would like to have a little honeymoon. Uh-oh. Well, see you tomorrow.
What do you mean, see you tomorrow?
I'm sorry, darling, but the doctor who took over my patients left this evening on his vacation. So now I not only have my own patients to look after, I also promised to look after his.
Oh. Well, that other man that called.
Oh, Van?
Van?
Van, short for Vandermeer. He's a friend as well as a patient.
I didn't know you had men patients.
What did you think you were?
Oh. Mrs. Kirk. Didn't hear a thing.
Wouldn't you like to answer the phone?
Well, I'll do it, but I won't like it. Hello? Well, who's calling her? Mrs. Burnside's nurse. Dr. Hunt's out of town.
Peter.
She just got back. Make it snappy, darling. The cold chicken's getting cold.
Hello? Yes? Rupture? Has there been any hemorrhage? Much? That much? How large? As large as that? What about the upper region? Infected? The entire area? Have you drained it? Was there much? Oh, no. The bone's showing. Any discoloration? Green? Well, Drain it thoroughly. Inject about 300,000 units of penicillin and apply cold packs. I'll see her first thing in the morning. Right. Peter, what's the matter?
Green.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, have a little water. I'll be more careful next time, I promise. Forgiven?
Mm-hmm.
How about some proof?
Hello? Who's calling? It's for you, Mr. Vandermeer.
Hello, Van. Yes, I got your message, but I was busy. Oh, thank you. Oh, don't be silly. No. Oh, come now, that doesn't sound so bad. You'll live through the night. Well, get down to the office first thing in the morning, then, and... What? Well, I can't talk about it now. Yes. Van, you ought to be shot. All right, see you tomorrow.
So that's the way a doctor speaks to his patients.
He had a pain.
Is that why you laughed? Is that why you couldn't talk in front of me?
But did it sound that bad?
Worse.
Now, what would you do if you were a bride with your husband listening and someone asked you what was so wonderful about the man you married? It was embarrassing. I had to mumble.
Was that it?
And now I might as well tell you what you didn't hear. I said you were the finest man I'd ever known, and I considered myself a very fortunate girl.
Oh, I'm a jealous fool. Will you forgive me?
Forgive me.
How about some of that proof stuff? Oh, no, not again.
This one's on me.
Does this happen all the time?
I'm sorry, darling. I warned you. Hello? Mr. Palmer? Yes? You're sure the pains are coming every 20 minutes? I'll be right over.
Where are you going?
I'm terribly sorry. The baby's arriving.
Mr. Palmer's?
I should hope so. Mrs. Palmer's having it.
Why didn't she have her baby on her own time?
Remember me?
Oh.
I went through 3 stoplights getting home to you.
What was it, boy or girl?
A false alarm.
Oh. Tired? Want some brandy, coffee? Well, give me some brandy and coffee and a beautiful girl, and you can have the brandy and coffee.
No cream and sugar, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kirk, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ito. Why didn't you wake me?
It was early, and you looked so peaceful.
What time is it anyway?
6:45.
6:40. What on earth are you
I had
doing?
to look in on Mrs. Burnside.
Oh, the one that's turning green?
Yes, and I also have a big day at the office.
Oh, yes, with that Vandermeer guy.
That's purely professional now.
What do you mean, now?
Well, truthfully, he did have a little crush on me.
Crush on you?
Is it so surprising that other men have found me attractive?
Well, no, but,
But I married you and not Van.
And why doesn't he keep away from you?
The answer is Van hasn't been well, and I happen to be a very capable physician.
The answer is you're very beautiful, and men are a lot of scheming, treacherous wolves.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. You're the best doctor in the world.
I really shouldn't forgive you.
Meaning you will?
Meaning I love you. Whew. You know, a kiss like that can make a person forget all about their work.
Yeah?
Of course, I could say that I was ill. Couldn't go to the office. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Nope, I've got to be strong.
Tony!
Hey, Mr. Kirk. What are you doing here so soon in the morning?
Just beginning to lift. Manicure, Mabel. Kitty, you can do my left hand. Shine, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Kirk. Morning, Johnny. Tony, want the closest shave in the house.
What's got inside of you? You know you can't take a close shave. You got a skin like the wrong side of a baby.
I don't care about my face. It's my wife's face I don't want to scratch.
Wife?
Congratulations, you got married, Mr. Kirk.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got a hitch, Mr. Kirk. Now you got somebody help you spend your money.
Happened kind of sudden, didn't it, Mr. Kirk?
What's wrong with that? Take me, for instance. I got married quick. I meet my wife at a picnic. We eat a lot, drink a lot. The moon, she's a full. My heart, she's a full. I ask her to marry me. Bingo, my house, she's a full. Ah, Mr. Kirk, is nothing like a married life. I leave at the shop and I come home, kiss my wife, play with the kids. We have a nice supper. After supper, we play cards. Gin rummy, canazza. Oh, we have lots of fun. And then we go to bed. My wife, she talks to me. I talk to her. She talks to me. I talk to her. She talks, and she talks, and she talks, and she talks. Mamma mia, if she don't stop talking, someday I'm gonna cut her throat.
Well, take it easy with that razor. You'll be cutting mine. I've had enough accidents for 1 week.
Accidents?
That's how I met my wife. She's a doctor.
Oh, that's nice.
I was her patient.
Your wife? She's take a man of patience?
What's wrong with that?
Depends on what's wrong with a man.
Yes?
I'm the doctor's husband.
I'm glad to know you. I'll tell the doctor you're here.
She's, with Mr. Vandermeer?
Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Andrews?
Richard Andrews. He says he knows you from college, I believe.
Oily?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, that's his nickname, Oily Andrews. He's, quite a fella.
Well, to hear him tell it, he certainly is. It's rather crowded in here. Wouldn't you like to wait in the doctor's private office?
Oh, fine.
Oh, no, not that one. It's over here, this way.
Oh.
Right in here. Would you care for a magazine or something?
No, thanks.
Are you sure you don't want me to tell the doctor that you're here?
No, I'm fine. are you doing here like that?
Broken thumb. Why?
Since when does a man with a broken finger have to strip to the waist?
Peter, I suggest you wait outside until I'm finished with Mr. Andrews.
I ask him a sensible question, and I expect a sensible answer. This moron's been showing off what he thinks is a fine physique ever since he was 17.
What's the matter? Afraid your wife will realize what yours should look like?
Why, I could...
Let him go. I'll knock him out.
Why don't you just try it? That's all I can tell you. Why don't you just try it? Why don't you...
Now, you think something really understanding here.
Why don't you let me handle Junior?
Junior!
Excuse me, please. What happened?
Nothing. Just leave us alone, please. Now, just what did you mean by breaking into my private office?
Had his shirt off, didn't he?
How did you know that before you broke in?
Well, I guessed.
You guessed. Then perhaps you could have guessed the man was thrown from a horse and besides having a broken finger, also had abrasions on his back.
He did?
Yes, he did. These are my office hours. What do you want here anyway?
Just wanted to take you to lunch.
And when you found out I was with a man, you broke in. Is it because you don't trust me?
Oh, no, I trust you completely.
Well, this is certainly an odd way of showing him.
Oh, you're right, darling, but please don't judge me by this. I realize how much your work means to you, and I know I have no right to intrude, but, well, I'm so insane about you. I just can't control my jealousy. But I'll try. I promise you I'll try.
Well, I guess I can't ask for more than that. I never did like Oily Andrews anyway.
Oh, you're wonderful. Now, how about that lunch?
Oh, can't make it for lunch, but you can take me to dinner.
Good. I'll be waiting at home, counting the minutes.
Peter, isn't there anything you have to do until then?
No, but I'll find something.
Try it? Well, not just yet. I think I'll start over here.
Hello, boys. Hello, Vince. Hello, Al. Do you mind if I join you? Hey, Kirky!
Oh, Ed, I didn't know you worked out here.
Oh, yeah, I always like to keep trim. You know I'm an officer in a lot of corporations, but this is the only one that paid dividends. You don't get it. Success! Success went to my stomach. Success went to my stomach. Oh, by the way, Kirky, I read about your marriage in the newspapers. Is this your first offense?
Yeah.
Me, I've been married so many times, I've got rice marks all over me. I've got rice marks all over me. Listen, Kirky, I got a bit of advice for you. You better get yourself a bottle of dandruff remover. What for? Oh, from what the boys tell me, you're going to have to get a certain lawyer named Vandermeer out of your hair. If you were anywhere near my wife, I'd lock her in the closet and swallow the key. In fact, I'd swallow the lock.
I'm worried.
Oh, obviously. Got rice marks all over me. Oh, no.
I got the hook, but I can't find the eye.
It's right there.
Ah, the eye's happy. You know, Mrs. Kirk looks just exactly like Mr. Kirk always wanted his wife to look.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure don't look like a hard-working gal.
I feel it. I had a hectic day at the office.
Oh, did Vandermeer finally come in?
No. Why?
Just wondering.
What are you getting at, Peter?
No, nothing. I just heard he was quite a fella.
He's very nice.
What are you treating him for?
Fractured sacrum.
Fractured? Oh.
It takes a long time to heal.
It does?
Now, darling, remember what you promised me this afternoon. He's the man I refused to marry. You're the man I married. Come on.
Just one more little question.
Fire away.
Where is that place he was hurt, the sacrum?
Between the lumbar and the coccygeal region.
Where's that?
back there. Rather sit down.
Well, yeah, I can't seem to get a samba.
This is a rumba.
Well, I can't get a rumba, too.
Hello.
Peter, your mouth is open.
Who is that?
Vandermeer?
Certainly gets around for a guy with a fractured sacrum.
Well, it's almost well.
Then why do you have to keep treating him?
I told you it takes a long
Helen,
time.
darling. Oh, I just have to repeat my congratulations in person.
Thank you. Van, this is my husband, Peter Kirk. Peter, this is Van.
Well, congratulations, old man. How are you?
How are you?
Oh, I think that's for the little doctor to decide. Oh, sit down, old boy. Honestly, Helen, that news was the biggest surprise of my life. There I was, just waiting for your return, without a thought in my mind about what was happening up there in the mountains. Now,
Well, it was rather sudden.
sudden. I actually had theater tickets for the night of your return. When I called the office in the morning, well, you can imagine how you'd have felt if you were told that the person you were trying to lure into marriage up and married somebody else. Say, how long have you known Mr. Kirk?
Long? Oh, long enough.
Long enough. Did you hear that, Kirk? I asked how long she's known you, and she said long enough.
I didn't mean it that way, Van, and you know it.
Of course you didn't, darling, but can't you let a poor old bachelor have his little joke? I'm resigned to my defeat. Just a professional appointment now and then for consolation. I beg your pardon.
Sorry, slipped.
That's quite all right.
If you'll excuse us, Van, my husband and I were just about to dance.
Of course. Oh, one last thing. Loser's privilege? A kiss for the bride.
Let me help you, sir.
Van, are you all right?
What happened?
If you care to step outside, I'll give you my version of what's going to happen.
Now you're
Please, sir.
Gentlemen,
No.
Stop this, Peter. Stop this.
I don't care if he is 18 feet tall.
Peter Kirk.
Where are you going?
I'm sleeping in the guest room.
May I say something?
May I say it for you? We've been married 3 days, and in that time you violated every rule in existence as to how to treat a wife.
It was Vandermeer I tripped, not you.
Oh, so you did trip him.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it. It was an uncontrollable impulse.
Just as it was with Oily Andrews, I suppose.
I don't blame you for being angry.
Now that you've conceded that, what am I supposed to do? Leap into your arms and say I forgive you?
Well...
Peter, I don't know. I haven't had a quiet moment since you put this ring on my finger.
Oh, please, honey.
I have to think this out. Alone. Peter, come to bed.
Oh, darling.
What a pair. Married and arguing before we know each other. We have about as much chance for happiness as 2 ducks in a desert. But I'm as silly a fool as you are, and there's no use being silly alone.
Nice. Very nice.
well, Mr. Kirk?
I wish I knew which one she'd like.
Couldn't you ask her?
No, this is a surprise. But maybe I could get a clue. May I use the phone?
Yes,
All right, now, if you'll open up, please. Pardon me. My nurse is out to lunch. Hello? Oh, hello, darling.
I just want to ask you one little question. I know it's going to sound kind of silly, but what's your favorite color?
Peter, I hate to sound abrupt, but I am awfully busy.
But I just want to know what your favorite color is.
Green.
Green. Swell. See you at dinner. Green?
Now we'll try once more.
Excuse me? Hello?
Sorry to bother you again, darling, but green's the wrong answer. It's got to be either black, white, gray, or brown.
Very well. Brown.
Now, shall we try once more? Hello?
Hello. Ooh, you sound mad.
Oh, hello, Van. No, I'm not a bit angry. Excuse me.
You can close now.
No, I'm just busy.
Look, I just have to see you, Helen. My back has been killing me ever since I took that fall last night.
Well, I do have a rather full schedule, but if you get down here, Emma can squeeze you in, I'm sure.
But I can't move. I'm in bed. Can't you come out to the house tonight? Any time before dinner.
If it's that bad, I'll come out. Right. I am sorry. Shall we try again?
Yes, but if you don't mind...
Oh, I'm sure she'll love it.
Well, I hope so, because this... Suppose she's got a mink coat.
Don't you know?
No, I just met her a couple days ago.
Oh, I think... Oh, Peter, just beautiful. My patients will think I've been overcharging them. Why, What's this?
It must have belonged to one of the minks.
Oh, Peter. Coat, and now... I feel like the jackpot winner on Stop the Music. Just a short one for me, darling. I have to go over to Van's house.
Van's house?
Yes, he's in agony, can't get out of bed. Well, I could have gone directly from the office, but it was early. And I'll be back in a half hour.
Well, it's getting a little dark outside. You want me to drive you over?
No, thanks. I'm only going to give him a shot.
In the sacrum?
Naturally.
Couldn't you give him a pill?
I'll give him a pill, too.
Will Mr. Kirk have dinner alone, or will Mr. Kirk wait for Mr. Kirk's wife?
I'll wait for Mrs. Kirk. She had an emergency call.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vandermeer.
Mr. Vandermeer?
Why do you say it that way?
Oh, it was just such a shock, sir. I saw Mr. Vandermeer's cook at the market today, and she said he was in excellent health.
He is?
Yes, sir. Was it an accident, sir?
No. Probably virus. They say that stuff hits you like an earthquake.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Doctor Hunt.
Good evening, Frederick. Mr. Vandermeer upstairs? Is Mr. Vandermeer... Frederick?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've been waiting for you.
I thought you were ill.
How else could I induce you to come over?
Van, of all the childish things I've ever heard of in my life.
Just a moment.
Congratulations, Helen. Why didn't you let her finish, Van?
Oh, no.
Yes. What were you going to say to the wicked man? Congratulations, darling. Thank you. Well, how did you all get here? I didn't see any cars.
Well, we parked all the cars behind the house.
Look at them all dressed up. I think I'd better have a drink.
Yeah, I think we all better have a drink.
Van, how could you do this to me?
Oh, it was nothing. Nothing at all.
Wait a minute. You don't expect me to stay here without my husband?
No, of course not. We have a call through for him right now. But I couldn't ask the both of you to go together. You'd have suspected something.
You must at least have a vague idea of how he feels about you.
Yeah, well, I guess we were both a little childish last night.
Oh.
Well, I hope before the evening's over, we'll be very good friends.
I know you will. He's a changed man.
Oh, well. Here's happiness to you both.
Thank you.
Pardon, sir, but Mr. Kirk is not home.
That's odd. He was home when I left.
Well, tell Cook to hold dinner.
Yes, sir.
No, Frederick, I don't want to keep everyone waiting.
Okay, then. We'll start.
Yes, sir.
But keep trying, Mr. Kirk.
Very good, sir.
You know, Van, this is such a lovely gesture. You really deserve a big kiss. That may be Peter.
No, you better let me go. You keep everybody quiet.
All right.
Now, quiet, everybody, quiet. Shh, shh, shh.
Where is she? Oh, she's hiding, eh?
Hey, what are you talking about?
Oh, you can save the innocent act. I saw you kiss her.
Oh, that, well...
Yes, that. Pretending to be sick so you could be together alone in this big house.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
I'll tell her off if it's the
I
last
wouldn't go
thing
in
I
there
ever
just
do.
yet. You're all upset and
Keep out of my way.
All right, Kirk. If you won't let me explain, maybe you'll let Helen. I'll tell her you're here.
You can also tell her she's a false, faithless phony.
I'll tell her.
And an unscrupulous, deceptive she-devil.
I'll tell her.
I'll have this marriage annulled.
I'll tell her.
Toying with people's affections, leading them on. Who does she think she is? Scarlett O'Hara?
I'll ask her.
Dan, was that...
So, you finally decided to face me. Mr. Vandermeer couldn't come to the office. You had to go to his home.
Peter...
You cure all your men patients with love and tender kisses?
Peter, what in the world's the matter with you?
I was at the window. I saw you kiss him.
Oh, that.
Yes, that.
Well, you weren't the only witness. Here are the others. Dan, will you leave us alone, please?
Take it easy.
Dear Kirk, you followed me tonight. You followed and spied on me. If you hadn't rushed out of the house like an overgrown schoolboy consumed with jealousy, you would have been invited here. And you would have learned as I did that Van and these other friends of mine were giving a surprise party for us.
Surprise party?
Yes, for you and me.
Holy Hannah.
Now, Peter Kirk, you get out of this house this instant.
But listen...
Get out. And don't take those antlers off. Maybe somebody will shoot you.
Please, darling, can't we talk this over calmly?
All right. Let's talk it over calmly. Can you offer any explanation for your conduct that would be accepted outside of a mental institution?
No.
Can you give me one logical reason why I should continue to put up with this nightmarish game of peekaboo?
No.
From the day we married, you've questioned my every move. You've spied on me so much, I'm afraid to look into a patient's throat for fear you'll be down there looking up at me.
I know I've bothered you quite a bit.
But to have so little faith in me as to humiliate us both as you did tonight.
It was all a horrible mistake, but, well, there wouldn't be any trouble if you just agreed there's no need for you to work.
We've been all through that, Peter. You know what my work means to me.
But I thought maybe...
You thought that I'd throw aside something I can do that's worthwhile and join you in doing nothing? No, thank you. I have to have a reason for being on Earth.
Well, I told you I was planning to get into something.
You know it isn't true, and you know why it isn't true. You're afraid you might fail, and you couldn't bear that.
What are you talking about?
You're the kind of a person who never faces a problem. You run away from it. It isn't people or comparisons you're afraid of, it's yourself. And rather than chance defeat, you quit.
Oh, you're just upset.
I'm perfectly calm. Calm enough to know that your jealousy isn't just some silly boyish quirk. It goes much deeper, all the way down to your sense of guilt and inferiority to other men. I'd feel the same way if I were just wasting my life without purpose or ambition.
You haven't a very high opinion of me.
In spite of everything, I do love you, Peter, but I just can't respect a man who doesn't respect himself, much less a man who's afraid. I'll pack my things.
Well, it's as much your home as it is mine. I'll get out.
No, Peter. I'm leaving you. Hello, Mr. Kirk.
Hello, Mr. Kirk.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Kirk.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, how's my favorite customer?
Fine.
You wanted the whole works, Mr. Kirk?
Once over lightly.
What's the matter? You don't want a close shave? Want to scratch your wife's face?
Never mind my wife's face. Just once over lightly.
Manicure, Mr. Kirk?
Not today, Mabel.
Something that tells me the wine of her love is she's a turn it to vinegar.
It's my own fault.
Huh?
Tony, I've known you for a long time, haven't I?
Give you your first shave.
What have I done with my life since then?
Why, nothing.
What contribution have I made to society?
Well, nothing.
No wonder I'm jealous of every man who even goes near my wife. I guess I do feel inferior to them.
Inferior, Mr. Kirk? No man with a millions is inferior.
Maybe. But your favorite customer is finally going to get going on something. Get a job.
Get a job, Mamma Mia. I'm a worker 20 years. I just quitted the job. The whole world, she's upside down.
Well, I'm going to set my little place in it right. And believe it or not, I'm going to do it on my own, too. Start right from the bottom. We'll see if I can step into my father's shoes.
Well, you do what you want, Mr. Kirk. But I always say, people what's a step in other people's shoes. Sometimes they get athlete's foot.
I see by your employment application, Mr. Billings, that you were a flyer in the war.
He flew about 1,000 hours, sir.
Well, with what I have in mind, your knowledge of planes will come in mighty handy.
Quite a gadget.
$28.95. You should sell a lot of these.
Oh, I'm sure I will, sir.
Well, then you should have no trouble staying on.
Oh, I don't expect to stay on.
Beg pardon?
Well, what I mean is I expect to work in every department, move right up to the top.
Well, when you pass me on the way up, I trust that you'll remember me kindly. But while you're down here, you'll please remember to be courteous and alert. Now, on your toes. Otherwise, you seem to have a very clean record.
Oh, madam, would you like something for the little girl?
If I gave her what she deserved, I'd give her a hit in the head.
Well, I'm sure she'd behave if you got her a nice toy. What about one of these little yo-yos? They're only 15 cents, and they work just like a charm.
I'll take that. No, you come back here to me. Don't you go running off when I want you. You come along here. I'll tell you what's on
Pretty toys? I'm sure we'll be able to find something you like.
How do you do?
His daddy says he can have anything he wants.
Well, we have everything here.
All right, Robert. You pick out something. I have to run over to the stocking counter. I'll be right back.
Don't you worry about a thing. I'll take good care of the little man.
I want a beanbag.
A what?
I want a beanbag.
I know what you'd like, an airplane.
I got an airplane.
Oh, well, not an airplane like this. This one has a real motor in it. It goes almost 100 miles an hour. See, all you have to do is just spin the propeller, and then with this tether here, see this wooden handle, these two wires, this makes you the pilot. You just attach these right there to those wires, and there you are. How's that?
I don't want an airplane. I want a beanbag.
You see, by spinning the propeller, you started the motor. When it builds up to the proper RPM, it could take off on its own power and I'd be able to control every movement with this tether. See how I can control with the tether? I'll pay for everything.
You'll pay for...
Yeah, I'll pay for it.
PJK.
You sent for me, sir?
Young man, I'm willing to assume that the aeroplane getting away was an accident. However, your employment card lists you as Peter Billings. Is that correct?
No, sir.
What is your name?
Peter Kirk.
Peter Judson Kirk, isn't it?
The Peter Judson Kirk?
Well, I suppose so.
Well, then, why do you use the name of Billings?
Well, I didn't want to trade on the Kirk name. I wanted to get a job on my own.
Very commendable. But I'm afraid our employees don't see it quite that way. Miss Nielsen and Mr. Hoff represent our employees. I let them talk for themselves.
Mr. Kirk, somewhere in this city is someone who's been deprived of this job, whose family at this moment may be without food, without proper care, because you, a millionaire, have taken it.
Well, I hadn't thought of cutting some poor fellow out of a job. It's just that trying to get started on something is the most important thing in my life right now.
Are you trying to tell us that you are broke?
Well, I didn't say that.
Then what are you trying to say?
I'm only trying to say I need a job for personal reasons. All I ask is you treat me like you would any other employee. Keep me if I do my work well and fire me if I don't.
I'm sorry, Kirk. I think that a man in your position shouldn't be taking jobs. He should be creating them.
Okay.
Mr. Kirk, your pad, sir.
The usual, Mr. Vandermeer?
Yes, please, 2 daiquiris.
Very well.
Well, I never questioned a request to take an attractive woman to lunch, but a request like that coming from you,
I'll get right to the point, Van. I'm divorcing Peter, and I want you to handle the legal end.
Well, I can't say I'm too surprised, but... Well, I must tell you, though, I usually advise my clients to attempt a reconciliation, but in your case, Well, you know how I feel about you.
You know I think you're a great guy, Van. Let's not talk about it now,
Okay, we won't talk about it now, but we will talk about it.
Tom? Yes, Mr. Kirk.
Kirk. Hi, Kirky. I didn't see you sitting over there. Hi, Kirky, old boy.
Hi.
Still celebrating, eh? All of our married a little dish like you. I'd still be celebrating, too. And just to show you I'm not the least bit envious, I'm going to help you celebrate. Oh, bartender, another Gibson and a double order of onions.
Yes, sir.
A double order of onions. Did you hear that? Yeah. You know, Kirky, old boy, you know how to live. You really do. Here you are, wearing out your elbows over a scotch and soda, and your little wife's at the office working her pretty little fingers to the bone. Working her pretty little fingers to the bone. You know, that reminds me of an old gag. My wife is a hard-working woman. Wish I had a couple more like her. Wish I had a couple more like her, I tell you.
Cigarette?
Say, Kirky, isn't that your wife over there with Vandermeer?
Yeah, that's my wife.
Well, somebody ought to tell her. Somebody ought to tell her. Oh, put that drink on his check. Put the whole thing on his check. I'll be over here, bartender. Yes.
We all got it, paper, paper. We all got it, paper, mister.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
It wasn't my fault. The kid ran right in front of the cab.
Kid? Well, never mind whose fault it was. Let's get this boy out of here to a hospital.
You better not touch that boy. He may be badly hurt.
I'll take that responsibility.
Easy now. Don't twist it.
There's a private hospital a couple of blocks down.
All right.
He seems to be hemorrhaging badly. This boy requires immediate surgery, or we might lose him.
Well, go ahead, Dr. White. Operate.
I'm not a surgeon.
Well, isn't there someone else here who can...
No, remember, this is a private hospital. But we'll get somebody immediately. Try Dr. King. If you can't reach him, get Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir. Mary, get Dr. King or Dr. Mitchell. Emergency.
Hello, Miss Toomey.
How do you do, Dr. Heimer?
I just came in to chat. Is Dr. White busy?
Yes, he is.
Well...
But you may go in, Doctor.
Hello, is Dr. King there? No, Dr. King.
Oh, come in, Dr. Heimer.
Something serious?
I'm afraid so. I wish you'd verify my diagnosis.
Well...
Please, Dr. Heimer.
If you wish.
Dr. King is in surgery, and they can't locate Dr. Mitchell.
Keep after it.
There is not much time to lose.
Can't reach either Dr. Mitchell or Dr. King.
Well, keep trying, and try Dr. Capper.
Yes, sir.
Well, how about you? Are you a surgeon?
Dr. Heimer was one of the leading surgeons of Vienna.
Unfortunately, I am not permitted to operate.
Not permitted? This is an emergency.
Nevertheless, Dr. Heimer's not licensed to practice in this country. He hasn't served an internship here.
Internship? For a leading surgeon of Vienna? I never heard of such a thing.
Just the same, I could go to prison.
But, doctor, the boy...
Well, under the circumstances, we take the chance. He will be as good as new.
What'd I tell you, Mom? I'll be back selling papers in a couple of days.
You just worry about getting well. Leave the papers and the rest to me. I'll see you in the morning.
Now, everything will be all right.
Oh, doctor, you can send me the bill.
Oh, no bill.
But I want to pay you.
All I ask is that you don't, how do they say in the movies, squeal to the cops.
Well, if I do any talking, it won't be to the police, believe me. Are there many doctors in your situation?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yes, fine physicians and surgeons working as waiters, clerks, taxi drivers.
What do you mean working as waiters, clerks?
Those who can't afford to go through internship.
You mean all that wonderful skill and knowledge going to waste?
There are a few American doctors, fortunately only a few, with power and influence who are glad to see it wasted. Keeps out competition, fattens their bank accounts.
Oh, this is an outrage.
It is the law.
Laws can be changed. Public opinion can do that.
Ah, but that takes time.
I'm loaded with time.
And money.
I've got more money than time.
That is wonderful, but no man alone can do this.
I don't intend to do it alone. I know somebody who could be of great help to us in this. A fine doctor, too. Dr. Hunt.
Hunt? Oh, yes, fine man.
That man happens to be my wife.
Mrs. Sherman, I'll put you down for Thursday at 2:30.
That'll be fine, thank you. Excuse me.
Pardon me. Is the doctor in?
Now, Mr. Kirk, don't start any trouble again. There hasn't been a man patient
I
in
just
here.
want to talk to her.
I don't think she wants to talk to you.
Just tell her I'm here.
Oh, please, she's had a very tough day.
Look, she's still my wife, and if I want to see her, I'll see her.
All right, Mr. Kirk. I'll tell her you're here. He's here again.
Would I be too curious if I asked who was here again?
Mr. Kirk.
Tell him I'm busy. That didn't stop him before, and it certainly isn't going to stop him this time. He's got that same wild look in his eye.
Well, tell him to come in, then. I'm sticking around, too. That won't be necessary, Emma.
Well, I am. I know those rich boys when they don't get what they want, and I'm sticking around.
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Anything we have to say to each other can be said in front of Emma.
Oh. Well, I ran across a situation that disturbed me very much. And I thought you and I, working together on it, could really do something about it.
You and I?
Well, yeah, it's kind of up your alley. It's about doctors, foreign doctors who aren't allowed to practice in this country. I think something should be done about this.
What brought this on, Peter?
Well, I suddenly came face to face with the situation.
Oh, you did?
Well, yes, you see, a newsboy saved my life. Almost got killed doing it. And, well, there he was, bleeding away with one of the finest surgeons of Vienna just standing there, unable to treat him simply because he couldn't get a license to practice in this country.
That's a very interesting story.
You don't believe me, do you?
Even if I did, you and I working together, Peter, it wouldn't be wise.
Well, you don't think I came up here just to...
Perhaps not. Nevertheless, I'd advise you to stick to whatever you're doing with yourself and leave these matters to the Medical Association.
It seems to me it's been left to them too long. And what's more, your high and mighty Medical Association can be wrong.
For your information, I just happen to approve of their position.
You approve?
Yes, approve. And if you'd like to know why I approve...
A certain Dr. White's already told me why. And if I've been a great disappointment to you, may I assure you, you've more than balanced the books. I came up here because, well, there's some people worth fighting for. Now I see there are a few people to fight against.
Better get that bulb in, Charlie. Here comes the gal.
There are no boundaries to human suffering, and there are no boundaries to the endless fight against it. As great as the medical profession is today, it would not be as great if it weren't for the development of penicillin by Dr. Fleming, a Scotsman, the discovery of insulin by Dr. Banting, a Canadian, the advancement of surgery by Durante, an Italian. If it weren't for men like Modestov, a Russian, Ehrlich, a German, Sackel, an Austrian, yet with all these tremendous contributions to the science of medicine made by doctors of foreign birth, our laws prohibit men of Dr. Heimer's eminence from practicing their profession here simply because they haven't served their years of internship in this country. Now, if this were only an injustice to Dr. Heimer and the men like him, it's quite possible I wouldn't be here today. But this is an injustice to you and me and the 150 million people like us who are deprived of the skill and the knowledge and the desire to serve of these fine men. I hope this committee will place the interests of that great majority above the interests of the selfish few and put an end to this ridiculous and undemocratic state of affairs. Thank you.
Dr. Hunt.
I will try to be as brief as possible, simply because I agree with everything Mr. Kirk has said. However, the internship law is not directed at the Dr. Heimers, the men of established reputation and practice. It is directed at the countless unknowns from remote countries and medical schools whose standards are admittedly far below our own. Certainly there are some injustices, since we cannot have a separate law for every doctor who comes into our country. But is it an injustice to expect people coming here to practice medicine to meet the same high requirements we demand of our own doctors? Is it an injustice to refuse licenses to the men with only 2, 3, or 4 years of college when we demand a minimum of 8 plus a year's internship for our own men and women? Is it an injustice to say that the interests of the 150 million people Mr. Kirk talks about are best served by improving our standards, not lowering them? If Mr. Kirk hadn't been so eager for a fight and a chance to sling mud, he would have learned that our problem is not one of demanding internship for the immigrant doctors. It is one of finding places where they can serve these internships. More hospitals. If Mr. Kirk really wants to render a public service, I suggest he do something about that. And leave the management of the medical profession to the men and women who have built it into the great institution that it is, the doctors.
Mr. Kirk, the committee agrees with Dr. Hunt, and it shall recommend that the law remain exactly as it is.
I'm sorry, Peter. My good friend Dr. White and I became so absorbed in my personal problem we let it carry us away. I'm afraid Dr. Hunt is right.
But some good's come out of it, though. Now I realize how serious your problem actually is. How a person with my kind of money can really help.
Peter.
Oh, hello, Doctor. How are you?
Busy, thanks to you. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's all right. I ordered for you.
Well?
I've seen it.
Aren't you proud of yourself?
I guess so.
You don't look so.
Well, the mess I've made in my marriage is finally becoming official.
I'm not very good at riddles.
Well, you know my wife's been in Reno.
That is even more baffling.
Well, perhaps I can put it into scientific terms for you. Husband, feeling own inadequacy, subconsciously resents men of achievement. Resentment turns into insane jealousy, which makes married life a horrible nightmare. Result, divorce.
Peter, this institution, with the opportunities it provides for men like me, and the hope that it gives countless thousands of other displaced victims of war and hate, was not built merely by the writing of a few checks. It took you, your time, your energy, your planning, and above all, the will to better this world we live in. Now, this is a great achievement, and you should no longer feel inadequate.
Well, frankly, Doctor, I don't, but... Well, after all the embarrassment and humiliation I've caused him...
Ah, that was the old Peter Kirk.
That's what I keep telling myself.
Well, you are talking to the wrong person. Tell it to her.
I don't know. Do you really think
Go to her, Peter. If your marriage is worth saving, it is worth fighting for.
Well, maybe I should. Can't lose what I've already lost.
Now, don't mix me up again. There's a plane leaving for Reno in an hour.
You sure?
No, but you could very easily find out.
All right.
Peter, take this. She may want you to autograph it for her.
How long will you be staying, Mrs. Crane?
6 weeks.
And you, Mrs. Hayes?
6 weeks.
How long will you be with us, Mrs. Young?
6 weeks.
Thank you.
How long will you be staying, Mr. Kirk?
About a half an hour if I'm lucky.
What?
I beg your pardon?
Let's say indefinite.
Well, we'll put you in 206.
My favorite number.
Will there be anything else, sir?
Well, there's a Dr. Hunt, Helen Hunt, staying here.
Yes, sir. I know her, sir.
Tell her she's wanted in 206.
Oh, but I couldn't do that.
Don't worry, she's my wife. Just want to surprise her.
But still, $50.
It's an emergency.
Yes, sir.
Helen, I was on my way up to see you.
Where have you been?
Well, I just left Judge Harper's office.
Yes?
And you'll soon be the ex-Mrs. Kirk and the next Mrs. Vandermeer.
Van, I hope this time will be different.
It's a promise, Helen.
Oh, Dr. Hunt.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, Dr. Hunt, but you're needed in room 206. It's an emergency.
I'm sorry, son, but Dr. Hunt isn't here, Professor.
It's an emergency, Van. I'd better go. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Right this way, Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So this is the emergency.
Actually, it is. My wife's about to divorce me, and I'm not going to let her.
Very interesting.
That isn't all.
It's enough for me.
Sit down.
Sorry.
Yeah, sit down right over here. That's it. Yeah, sit. Now, look. I didn't come all the way up here to plead or crawl. I just wanted to tell you that I'm no longer the Peter Kirk you're divorcing. I've changed.
Well, you certainly have.
Maybe it's because I've finally done something I'm proud of. I don't know. At least it's something I'm going to stick with.
You should, Peter. I've read all about the wonderful work you're doing. But as far as we two are concerned, it's too late.
It can't be too late. We're still married.
Well, it is. It's too late.
And just for handling this little deal for him, he gives me $50. $50? Yeah, right here.
Who is this guy?
A fella by the name of Peter Kirk, 206.
Boy, I'm gonna latch on to him.
Hey, you keep out of my territory.
I have plans of my own, Peter. They don't include going through the same ordeal again.
But I've gotten to the root of all our troubles. There's no more reason for me to be jealous anymore of anybody. Look, you can do what you want, have any friends you wish. I'll invite Van over personally. Have him out to dinner, the weekend, anything. We'll even adopt him if you like.
I'm afraid Van was counting on much more than that when I left him 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago? Van's here?
Why, yes.
With you?
Naturally, he's been coming up here weekends.
Weekends?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a cozy situation, I must say. You might at least have waited till our marriage was cold before you started running around.
So this is the new Peter Kirk. This is the man with his face on the magazine cover. The man with his 2 feet on the ground.
Yeah, but...
But what, Peter?
Oh, I guess you're right. It's no use. I'll never be able to control my jealousy. Must be some crazy streak in me.
I'm afraid so. Van and I are going to be married. Thank heavens there'll be some peace in my life. No more scenes or snooping. He'll trust me.
I don't blame you for preferring a guy like Van.
There isn't a jealous bone in his body.
Well, I give up. To borrow a phrase from your Van, loser's privilege, kiss for the bride. Good luck, darling.
Well,
Van.
this is a fine emergency.
Well, look, you've got this whole thing
You were
going.
kissing her, weren't you?
Well, yeah.
How did you know that before you broke in?
Well,
I know. You guessed it. Oh, Van, you too.
Now,
Oh,
a
now,
jealous bone in his body.
Now, you keep out of this.
Keep out of it. The lady happens to be my wife.
She may be your wife, but she's engaged to me.
Stop.
Now,
Both of you, stop it. I don't consider myself married or engaged to anybody, and I'm not going to be. Goodbye. Come in.
Just want to leave some clean towels.
I won't need any, thank you.
Oh, you're not going?
I certainly am.
Change your mind about the divorce, I guess. Just as well, if you ask me. Men don't grow on bushes.
I'm not leaving town. I'm merely going to some quiet place where there are no men and no bushes.
Here, let me help you, dearie. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but when a girl as pretty as you are hates men,
Something must be wrong.
There's nothing wrong. Only the man I was about to marry turned out to be as insanely jealous as the man I'm divorcing.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Wonderful.
Yes, look at me. I've been married 4 times, and never was one of them ever jealous of me for a single minute. That was the trouble. That's why I was married 4 times. They just didn't care.
That's too bad.
My last one, he was the worst of all. If only he had just walloped me now and then. Did yours?
Certainly not.
Well, then, jealousy is the next best thing. Shows they love you. Oh, if I had 2 men jealous of me, I'd be a bigamist. Or else I'd pick out the one I really wanted, and we'd live jealously ever after. Ah, there I go. Dreaming again.
Come in.
Oh, Dr. Hunt, this is really an emergency. Those fellas up in 206 had quite a brawl, and one of them is really hurt.
Well, let's go. Peter, are you all right?
Don't worry about me. I'm all right. It's that big stiff that needs a doctor.
You're the only one I care about. If I ever catch you not being jealous, I'll come back here and I'll really divorce you.
You mean it? Oh,
What's the matter?
my back when we went over that chair.
Let me see. Oh, it's your sacrum.
Listen, if I ever catch you even looking at a man's sacrum, I'll wallop you, so help me.
Oh, darling, that's wonderful.